President Biden signed the Respect for Marriage Act this week, historic legislation to protect same-sex and interracial marriage under federal law.
The president called it a vital step towards equality, liberty, and justice, not just for some, but for everyone. He was joined at the White House by LGBTQ plus advocates, including former Massachusetts Congressman Barney Frank, one of the first openly gay members of Congress. And Congressman Frank joins us in studio today. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here.
It is fantastic to have you. And I want to quote you because you called the passage of this bill, quote, one of the great legislative achievements you have ever seen. You have been a longtime champion of this. You were there when it was signed.
Yes.
What does this mean for the future of our country?
Well, first, I was paying tribute to Senator Tammy Baldwin, who did a great job. People did not think you could get the 12 Republicans to vote with the Democrats, and she withstood pressure. She decided to be serious and go for a real policy change rather than an issue. And she got criticized by the kind of activists who just use emotion and not reason. So I was paying tribute to her. What it means is two things for America. One, we have gotten a divisive issue off the table. There was an overwhelming consensus. The public opinion on this is even more lopsided than the congressional vote. An interesting example, the political thing to do apparently was to vote for this bill, which is a great reversal, because more Republicans voted for it in the House before the election rather than after. That means before the election, they felt, some of them, political pressure to vote for it, even though they didn't want to. That's a good sign. The other thing, of course, is that it means peace of mind for millions of people who got married and who were worried. Justice Thomas, in his opinion on the abortion question, suggested that this should be overturned. And that made a lot of people nervous, and so now they're not nervous.
And Mr. Frank, this bill actually voids the Defense of Marriage Act, or DOMA, which defines marriage between a woman and a man here. Then Senator Biden voted in favor of DOMA back in 1996. How has the country evolved?
Well, that's a good example. Yeah, I felt particularly good the other day because I was the leader of the floor fight against DOMA. And I predicted at the time that it wasn't going to have any of the negative consequences of same-sex marriage. And I found, I'm getting older, one of the few pleasures that improves with age is saying, I told you so. You don't have to take a pill before you do it, after you do it, while you're doing it, you can just do it. And I told them so. We told them that same-sex marriage would have zero negative consequences. And what it meant to me was that the country, reality has defeated prejudice. That's the pattern. You have a prejudice because, and in the case of gay and lesbian people, we were hiding, so no one knew what we were going through. We wouldn't tell them. Mm-hmm. And what's happened was, thanks to Massachusetts, the Supreme Court there said marriage could go ahead, and we began to have marriage, and none of the negative predictions about marriage came true. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened, was that the reality overtook the prejudice. And that's a good model, where you have like one or two states show something and it dissipates the negative arguments.
And you mentioned this briefly, the Respect for Marriage Act passed with bipartisan support. You mentioned that the numbers were different before the election versus after the election, but I want to touch on how the polarization in Congress has changed since you were there.
It's gotten much worse on most issues. That's why I said that I gave particular credit to Senator Baldwin for getting this through, and with the Republicans who work with us, Senator Portman, Senator Collins. But what's happened is that the sides have firmed up. When I was there, you generally were either a Democrat or Republican. That's why you picked that. And you were on that side most of the time. But where on those occasions you differed with your party, you just voted the other way. It's now gotten so divisive that if you're a member of one or the other parties and you disagree with your party, you're under enormous pressure to vote against your own convictions and with the party. And that's what's different. And I was down in Washington for the passage of the bill last week, and that's what people tell me. The lines have hardened.
All right, former Congressman Barney Frank, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
I like the suspenders as well.
Yes, my husband bought me these.
They look great.
Nice fashion statement there. All right.
Well, hey, Hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.